right, so welcome to the channel. Tell me who you are and what you're working with.
Okay, my name is Anis Hilal. Thank you a lot for hitting me up and reaching out for this beautiful opportunity. So I'm a doctor in Sweden. I'm subspecializing in the field of ophthalmology. So right now I'm still a resident ophthalmologist. I'm just started my fourth year out of five. So time has flew by really quick. I started almost a year ago a channel on YouTube called Now I Know. I didn't really know what the identity of this channel was going to be. I thought it was more going to be about eye diseases and just reaching out to the public. Quickly discovered the public is not really interested. And then I started getting a lot of questions about how is it to live in Sweden, work in Sweden as a doctor, to come here. And then I realized, damn, I think I can do more help to the community with the stuff that I myself struggled with before I came here. And so I started posting a video every week, every other week. And that's how we bumped into each other.
Yeah, exactly. Because honestly, I don't remember exactly how I found you, but it's like I was Googling in our niche, kind of like Swedish medical stuff on YouTube. And I mean, it's just like 3 or 4 alternatives. There's not so much out there, but but I also I liked your branding. Like Now I Know, it was like a nice branding. Do you know about the Tesla channel Now You Know?
No. Yeah, of course. I follow these guys.
Yeah, because I was like, probably maybe he's into like Tesla stuff, because they have a really nice channel.
Tesla.
I
love Tesla.
Because their channel is named Now You Know, and I was like, oh, this is so smart. All right. So you've been in Sweden for 4 years, or have you been for a bit more than 4 years?
So the first year that I came here, I was doing a bit of language. My language was online, most of all. I did maybe some stuff here, just like before I took my exam, just some brush up. But I practically learned the language after my last year of medical school. I did my medical education was in Lithuania. So it was an hour's flight away. And,
was it in Kaunas?
It was in Kaunas.
Yeah.
Do you have any friends that are in Kaunas?
No, not friends, but I know like in the Baltic region, it's either Kaunas, or in Latvia where I went, it's the Riga Stradins, and Estonia.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know so much about that one.
Yeah. So I was in Kaunas, and I never thought about Sweden before that. My goal was that I was going to finish from there and go to the United States, and I was preparing for their board exams. But my dorm mate during the first 2 years when I was there, it was Swedish. His name is Herman. He's also a doctor. He's my best friend of all time. I'm gonna send this video to him so he sees this.
Shout out to Herman.
Shout out to Herman. He's doing his residency in psychiatry. But anyway, so he was telling me a bit about life in Sweden and the quality of life. And to be honest, I think Sweden has been underestimated by just this dogmatic stereotype of having the highest suicide rates in the world. That's pretty much what I knew about it, most of my friends knew about it when I told them that I was going to Sweden. And this is such a dogmatic view. And when he started showing me really how it is, the quality of life, the standard of healthcare, the standard of being a human being, in fact. I was like, I have to try it. I have to give it a shot.
Because where were you from originally? I don't know if you said it.
Yeah. So no, originally I'm Lebanese.
Okay.
And I grew up all my life in Lebanon. And I left Lebanon to pursue my medical education.
Okay.
And fun fact, I didn't know it was Lithuania. For some reason in my head, when I heard about this university, my head went to either Liechtenstein or Luxembourg. And I arrived and I was like, wait.
This is not it.
This is not it. But still, I had a very, very, very beautiful experience there.
Okay. So many questions. That's awesome. Let me see. So what brought you to Sweden? It was your friend that said that it's an amazing quality of life, which it is.
Yeah.
And so basically you wanted to try it. And it seems like since you went from Lebanon to Lithuania and then to Sweden and you were thinking about US, it feels like you have this kind of thing where you want to explore and travel or like experience new things.
Definitely. Basically, you know, coming out of the Middle East, it is a state where it's a beautiful weather, beautiful food, beautiful people, until all goes to shit very quickly. And my parents really wanted for both my brother and I to have a stable, you know, quality of life. That's what any parents would want for their kids.
Yeah.
And when I came to Sweden, I promised myself that if I don't get the specialty that I want after 1 year, or I don't find myself in the country, then I'm going to continue on my path and going to the United States. And so I gave myself this one shot, this 1 year, and I never regretted it ever since. Regretted ever since.
Maybe can I just ask you, how old are you?
Sure. I'm 29 years old.
That's awesome.
Okay, wow. 29. Yeah. How about you? All the questions are just about me. How about you? Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, because I'm so used to having these interesting like guests, and you know. But so I am 24 years old and like born and raised in Sweden to Persian parents, so I started studying medicine, but I didn't have actually, this is one thing that I'm kind of proud of. So I had the grades to study medicine, but I had done the wrong courses, you know? So, so it was like either I had to continue doing the right courses, like physics part 2 and like chemistry, the second one.
I heard that entering medicine in Sweden is literally like winning the lottery. It is.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So the thing is that that's what they say. Like even they said it to us in Latvia. They said in your countries it's hard to get into medicine, but it's really easy to get out. And there's some truth to it, because I mean it's you just have to do it, and you have to do some retests and stuff, but it will be fine. While they said, like for us, or in Latvia, it's easier to get in, and you think that it's all gonna be awesome and nice, but the truth is hard. It's gonna be hell for you.
It's hard. Yeah, of course. Even in Lithuania, like we had a bit of an interview process in Lebanon before we arrived, and we had an entrance examination. And they asked about, you know, important stuff as well, but the med school there was like someone grilling you. We started at 80 people, we graduated like 34. So
yeah, exactly.
it's like survival, you know, but still it was a good experience. But yeah, I saw your channel actually, not to flip the roles around, and I saw, like, I think what you're doing is very, very good. You're helping medical students here really find their own niche and what they want to subspecialize in. It's definitely not an easy decision.
No, but for me, thanks. For me, it was also this thing that, you know, you think that you know what your channel is going to be about, but then it turns out it's not really that. Because for me, I thought that I was making a channel for medical students, but honestly, it's more for high school students that want to get into medicine. Like if I look at my stats, I noticed that it's mostly like 17, 18-year-olds that are like, oh, wow, that's so cool. You're studying medicine. How do I get into med school? Like, which courses do I have to pick? And that's where I did the wrong decision, you know? Yeah, so that's nice. But about Latvia, so I was honestly broken down by Latvia. And I think that there's a very interesting theme in this. It's that, like for me, coming from a like relatively not wealthy family, but we were well off, you know, and we were in Sweden and we were in Stockholm, and like it's one of the most modern and nice places in the world.
Beautiful,
yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, I was 18 years old. I was in like apartment in Riga, which was not that nice, like compared to what I've been used to. And the streets were not nice. The people were not as nice, according to me. And the school system was just so harsh, and you know, and at the same time, I like found my girlfriend, and she was in Sweden. So that made it even
you had also a long
worse.
distance that was going on. Yeah,
it was horrible. Like I grew as a person a lot, but those 2 years, I would still say that they were like the hardest years, but probably most forming years of my life.
Definitely.
So then I got in. Yeah, tell me.
No. Yeah, I wanted to say that these years where you leave home basically, and even if you're living in another city in Sweden, but you're still home, you know, when you leave your country, it sort of puts you in this survivor mode. It's like fight or flight sort of. You have to try to make it, and at the same time, you truly start to appreciate the stuff that you left behind, and the stuff that when you come back home, you appreciate anything, going to the market, seeing the brands and the chocolate that you like, or just seeing the faces that you like, even the weather. So exactly. So those things for sure.
But let me see. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. We could be talking for hours, but I'm wondering one thing. I just don't want to forget it. So you studied in Lithuania. That explains a lot, because my question was like, if you would have done your degree in Lebanon, how would it be in Sweden? But because since you got a European like med school, like you were basically legitimerad directly, right?
Yeah. So what happened was, I was lucky that the Lithuanian medical degree is recognized and certified as a European medical degree.
Yeah.
So all that I had to do when I came to Sweden at that time, because of the old law, which they're changing now with the new BT system, is that I had to complete my C1, so my language certificate, that I could be fluent in the language and prove it, and then apply to the Socialstyrelsen, which is the National Board of Health and Welfare in Sweden, in order to certify that I can speak the language. And then they look into the entirety of your file, your medical education, everything that you've done, and then they give you your license. Nowadays, things have changed a lot. So starting June, July 2021, regardless if you're coming from a non-European medical degree background or not, you still have to do the internship years. Now, that necessarily is not a bad thing. I am actually pro doing your internship years here, because unless you know exactly what it is you want to subspecialize in, starting in a new healthcare system, in a new hospital, in a new country, in a new language, you know, being just cast out into the water, just somebody literally throwing you into the system, telling you, treat our patients. That must be it must be overwhelming like hell. So I think these BT years, 1.5 years, will help shape you, make you feel comfortable as a doctor. Plus, you'd be earning a salary, you'd be starting out your life, and you get a clearer picture of what you want.
Yeah.
The only big difference still right now, if I had been living in Lebanon and wanted to come here, would be the Kunskapsprov, or the medical entrance exam.
Yeah.
Now, it is very notorious here in Sweden that these exams are just as hard, if not harder, than the USMLEs, like the American board exams. They need a lot of studying. They're long exams, and they have the OSCE part, which is as well not a lot of people are used to.
No.
We have that system in Lebanon as well, but still, think about it. New language, new people, new routine, different hospitals. So,
but yeah, at least that it is possible is good. Like, even if it's hard, it's nice that it is possible, especially for, like, I've met a lot of my handledare, so like supervisors in
supervisors,
the clinic. That are from Syria, for example, and they tell me about this Kunskapsprov, and like they had their own clinic and everything back in their home country.
Redo everything.
But that they at least could do it, because when I was little, honestly, I didn't know so much about it, but I was thinking like, probably Sweden, you know, there's a lot of nice things about Sweden, but we also, like, in an international sense, we think that we're the best. Like, so I was like, no, but I was thinking like, maybe we don't accept Middle Eastern degrees because we think that we have a better system or something. But it's nice that that's not the case.
Of course. So basically, when you're applying here, this is the nice thing with the Socialstyrelsen, is that they recognize any of the medical degrees that are the medical degrees that are issued by the medical schools registered in something called, if I'm not mistaken, the FEMA, which is like the international sort of record for recognized medical schools, and even from countries that are outside the Middle East, there are very few medical universities that are not recognized, like the shady type of medical schools that you don't know if they bought their degrees or not.
Yeah.
But of course, and this is the whole purpose of Now I Know, it was to help, a lot of doctors are now struggling in Lebanon, especially because of the situation that we have over there, the economic situation mostly. Doctors' salaries are rendered to $200 a month, imagine. And of course, I don't want to, strip Lebanon out of its doctors, but for people that are still, young, even for those that are willing to take that step, that have saved, Sweden offers a quality of life that is second to none in the world. Maybe that's one of your follow-up questions later on, why I chose Sweden as well. But
no, but I think that you told me, basically. You heard about it, and then it's like, why not try it?
It's perfect. My in-laws are from the United States, and my fiance is American as well. So they're American Lebanese, and that in America as well, they consider that they have an amazing standard of life compared to the rest of the world. And when I was telling my in-laws a bit about Sweden, the first time that we met, everything was like, okay. First, it started off, very good healthcare, very good. This is like, yeah, it's good. That's good. That's good. We have insurance here as well. We have school systems here as well. But the one that broke it all, it was like the shocker in the room, was what they call in Sweden the mammaledig, or the maternity leave.
Yeah.
when they heard that it's for 1 year. But wait, this wasn't even the cat. They were all shocked, and I held the other part, and then I told them, let me tell you about the paternity leave for the father. And they were like, the what now?
Yeah.
They heard 100 days.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, let's pack our stuff and move there. But
have they moved?
No, they haven't.
I don't know. Like, maybe they did.
Yeah,
but just a quick
they will
question.
establish there.
Yeah, the question. So your fiance, did you guys meet in Sweden, or you met somewhere else?
We met in Lebanon. We met in Lebanon a couple of years back at a party.
So before everything started? Basically?
No, I think it was just after my first year here, like during the summer after my first year being here.
Okay.
And we met for the very first time at a party. We didn't know each other before. And we started growing, this kind of friendship between each other, and then it became a relationship. And we got engaged, and now this summer we're getting married, and she's starting to plan to move to Sweden.
So she's not in Sweden right now?
No, she's not in Sweden right now.
Okay.
But she's visited a couple of times. Because of the pandemic right now, they shut everything down. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a beautiful adventure for her as well, to see how it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. That's nice. So then maybe you can also document her journey, like becoming Swedish or something.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be interesting. I mean, in today's world, you find that whether it's Sweden, whether it's the States, whether it's France, because of globalization, we really have everything everywhere. I mean, what you don't find that specific brand. We have Amazon now in Sweden.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's great. She was very happy about that too.
Yeah.
She's very happy about that too.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
So, in what termine are you now?
I'm in my eighth semester termine.
And so that you tell your viewers as well, and for like international viewers, what is a termine? Like, how many termines until you finish med school?
So it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's 11 semesters or termine. So semester is termine for everyone. Yeah. So and there's 11 semesters, and right now in this current system, so I'm one of the last med students. Like, we are one of the last generations that will have this old system where we have a 5.5 years of med school, and then we have 18 to 21 months of AT, so allmän tjänstgöring.
So internship.
Internship. But the thing is, the new one, BT, will also of course be internship, but it will be shorter and a lot different in like how it's formed and the salary, and it's just a whole nother story. I've done a video on that.
That's great.
So basically, which it's kind of crazy. that you can't do anything even though you have a medical degree. So when I have my läkare examen, it's just like, okay, so what do I do now? You basically, you have to do the internship. And there's big problem in Sweden, I would say, at least for like young med students or like people in the beginning of their career,
finding
it's this thing that we have to do the internship in order to get our, what's it called, legitimation?
License. Your license to practice.
Yeah, my license. But you also can't just get it. So you have to wait, you have to look for it in like different places of the, like in Sweden, like for example, in the north of Sweden, maybe you can get it and it's higher salary, but people have lives and they have children and they have like family.
Of course.
So it's kind of, we get stuck in the middle where we can work as junior doctors, actually junior doctors, like really, we can't basically do anything. Yeah, but we still have to do this process with the internship. So it would be fine if the internship was automatic. Like, okay, now you're done with your med school, so now do the internship at the closest hospital. But that's not the case.
It was more like a streamlined process where that it could like automatically match you to an open slot, an open place. And I think it could definitely be, I think it's more logistics. It's more of a software thing whereby really you can design a system sort of that you apply and the system matches you and gives you the offers of which places want you. And then like, it's very streamlined. You can do it in advance so that you don't have this gap between when you stop and when you start. There's definitely room for improvement.
Yeah, and that's what they are trying to do with this BT system. That's part of it, because I read about it, and I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I just read some things that, for example, currently it's the med school, like the universities, of course, they are owned by the state, or like it's the state that controls the schools, while it's the regioner or the landsting in Sweden that control, like own and control the hospitals, like the offentliga hospital.
Exactly.
So basically there's a handover from the state to the regions or the counties, or I don't know what it's called.
From the state to the counties.
So they don't have the perfect communication, so they have different views on what works and what doesn't. And what they are doing now with the new system, it's basically that the state will take over the whole process until you become a licensed doctor. In that way, there won't be a handover.
Yeah, I think from what you're describing, I think that sounds much more simple, like in the way that things should be done. Because the more people involved, or the more diverse the systems that are involved, the more prone you are to having things that go missing, or like gaps in your work time, and just different people to apply to. But I think in general that having internships here is a very good thing. Especially for people coming outside Sweden. What about your specialty? Are you starting to feel a sort of, affinity to something? Like feeling that, damn, I can see myself doing this.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about it a little bit before. So I honestly, I'm in a situation where I've been struggling a lot with my motivation about med school, because I'm not sure that I chose it for the right reasons. And that's also one thing that I talk a lot about in my videos, because I know that especially, like, to be honest, it's mostly in Sweden, it's people that have immigrant parents, usually, that have a very specific view of medicine and having higher education, which is not as common in Sweden, like in the Swedish population, like my Swedish friends, for example. And I was also kind of part of that. I was never forced to do anything, but there was just something that made me like push more towards medicine. And now that I'm kind of growing, and there's been a lot of, like, I've been here a few years now, and been doing a lot of thinking. So in general, I just realized that I think medicine is awesome and meaningful and nice, but there's just so much other things in the world that I'd also love. Like, I did a list yesterday that, okay, what are your passions? I'm reading a book about like passions and choosing the right career and stuff. It's like my passions, I would say it's like history, psychology, and people. And now recently I've been more interested in like economy, entrepreneurship, and this kind of stuff because of the YouTube. Like this is basically like having your own
of course business.
And then I realized, okay, so it's not that there's one right career path. It's like that's probably true. I could do 10 things and love it, and I think medicine is one of them. But in a parallel universe, I think I might have been like a history teacher in high school. That would be a dream for me also. Anyway,
that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah, I can I give my input? Answer your question. On that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't answer your question. Okay. But you want to add something or?
No, I want to continue. So I want to hear what you want to say.
That was basically the backstory. But with all that said, like now I have 2 years left, and this 8th semester I'm actually doing a project. So I'm not going to any clinical placements or anything. We're just doing the project. But I'm pretty sure, like I would say, honestly, 95% sure that I'm gonna be a psychiatrist, and 5% that I'm gonna be a general practitioner. And honestly, I feel so certain that, like, I can say it that certainly, because there is nothing today, at least, that brings, like, that is, it interests me that much as these two do. So I think this is going to be psychiatry, actually.
That sounds amazing. I wanted to ask you about your, actually you already answered with the backstory of why you wanted to choose it, but at the same time, why psychiatry? What is it in psychiatry that you find, or you have found already? Is it the brain itself, or is it understanding human beings better?
I think there's a lot of aspects to it, and some of them are negative, and I'll explain what I mean, and some of them are positive. The negative ones, what I mean with that is what I really don't want to do, which I don't find in psychiatry. For example,
that's also very good to have in your list.
Exactly. So because in my first clinical placement, or the first semester, was internal medicine, like general internal medicine. And I know, like, I tell all the people on my channel and my friends, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but I honestly, I really dislike internal medicine. And in a way, it's like the basis of all of medicine. So of course you can't say that, but as a work, like, I wouldn't want to do that because it's too broad for me. You have to have control of so many different aspects of the human body, hormones and lab values and stuff that are just happening all over the place. That's number one. And that they are, like, the patients, it's not all of them, but in general, like, you will see very sick and old patients a lot, like, and you have to think about your life also, like, even if you, of course, you want to help people, but I couldn't manage always, like, having, like, thorax drain and, like, people with what's it called, hjärtsvikt, and like, it's a very I would say it's a mentally challenging environment. So that's one thing I was like, okay, so I don't think that this is my cup of tea. And it's also medically really advanced, like, everything is advanced, but it's very, like, guideline oriented, and it's like you have to really think about 1,000 different steps.
And those guidelines, they change between hospital and hospital, even between region. They have their own sort of flow chart to how they manage different conditions, how they manage, just even the way that you admit the patient into the hospital. What are the standards, like, to what is the threshold to after which you start to want to admit a patient and things like that. But I think that's very good that you're honest as well with yourself. I had the same feeling. I loved internal medicine when we were studying it theoretically. It's like, wow, this is cool. Wow, this is cool. Wow, this is cool. And then I went on the floor and was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
But I'm going to ask you about your specialty also. Like, so so why did you choose ophthalmology? Which is, for if there's someone who doesn't know, it's basically eye doctor. You can say that.
Exactly. So, it actually started out by me not even considering ophthalmology in the first place. I didn't even know that thing. Sort of like me discovering Sweden. I mean, I always knew it was there, but I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I always loved the brain. I basically went into med school as the backstory because I'm fascinated to know more about the brain, how we think, why we think. It's just amazing to have the most advanced machine in the universe as a biological one that sits in our skull. And I was so into it, like you're saying right now, I was at 100%, it's going to be neurology. And then I went on a small internship to the United States, to the Department of Neurosurgery. And it was like a month or two or something. And I was like, wow, if I see like the pinnacle of neurology at neurosurgery and how things are going, and then seeing some neurological patients, this is for sure, it will sediment my love for this. And I was shocked. I was like, no freaking way. It's like, the problem with that I found myself with neurology, and even when I came back to Lithuania and I went and I did my rotation there, it was like, you never seem to help people from A to Z. It was more of palliative medicine. It was more of keep the patient status quo, try to help them improve a bit, but it's mainly maintaining the quality of life that they have. It wasn't a quick fix. It wasn't active management. It wasn't too much action. Now, albeit neurosurgery is definitely, but I didn't see myself, because I was with a neurosurgeon, they're standing on my feet 8 hours every single day, and the active lifestyle, not having time for your family, because I thought, I want something that I can do what I love, but at the same time feel that I'm more in control of it, it's not being in control of me. And then came along the ophthalmology course, which was not more maybe than 3 weeks in Lithuania. That's it. So I opened, by coincidence, a channel on YouTube for a guy called Tim Root. Have you ever heard of this guy?
No.
Did you go through your ophthalmology rotation or not yet?
No, not yet. Rotation? It's next semester.
Next semester. Okay. So this is actually what we're going through now, and the medical students that I'm helping during my rotation right now. So Tim Root, he is an eye doctor in Miami. He hated ophthalmology in the beginning. Like, he didn't know how to understand. He didn't know that he was going to become an ophthalmologist, because the way it was explained to him was too damn hard. And then he started doing everything in cartoons in a simplistic way. And he started drawing everything. And he made his own book about ophthalmology, and everything is on his website. I'm going to promote this guy. I don't care if it's
I'm going to Google it.
Go check it out. Yeah. So the way that he explained it and the beauty behind it, I was like, wait, eyes are actually a part of the brain. They're an extension of the brain.
Yeah.
And to think about it, I love photography a lot. Think about it, that we have 2 biological cameras that talk with one another and with the brain. And we don't even really know how an image formulates. We know the pathway, we know the chemicals, but how we actually see and understand what we're seeing, it's truly a miracle. It's truly fascinating.
Yeah.
And when I saw that we can help patients on the spot, you can both have you can have a surgical subspecialty in ophthalmology. Let me tell you guys a bit, if you're interested in eye medicine. An eye is literally like a small mirror of the entire body. When we look in the eye, we can see a live nerve without ever having to open anything. And we can see the blood vessels. We can usually detect if someone has diabetes even before they know it. We can detect if they have hypertension before they know it, and other stuff. So when I started a bit, thinking about it, is this something really that I want or that I don't? Then I realized you can become a pediatric eye doctor, a children's eye doctor. You can be an eye surgeon. You can be a retinal surgeon, like you do the hardcore, trauma stuff to the eyes. You can become a plastic eye surgeon, a neuro-ophthalmologist. So there was a lot of things, and I said, you know what? It's worth giving it a shot. And I love it. I'm like the LeBron James in my field. Yeah. I love what I do.
But that's awesome that you love it, because there are a lot of doctors out there that don't love their work, and I think that patients get in the.
Hey, listen, that's okay. In the end of the day, you have to have your heart into something that you're doing, and I still love neurology, but I love to read about it more than to actually do it. And I think really it's when you're doing something every single day, like you will in the future, if you pursue your passion with psychiatry, which I see you're very passionate for, that when you come home, medicine is not just what you do in the clinic, it's as well what you bring home with you. You want to come home not feeling like, oh my God, I really just don't want to talk about anything. I just want to put on a show and just shut the whole world out. Then you're going to have a family. You're going to want to talk about something that happened throughout your day, to your kids, to your wife, to your partner, to just your friends. Plus, when you want to meet your friends that aren't doctors, you want to have something to talk about that they could actually understand. You don't want them to feel like, oh my God, this guy keeps going to fail, so someone got a heart attack yesterday or something like, you know. So it's not just your career; it's part of your life.
Yeah. But that's awesome. It's that you like. Honestly, just from these minutes, I'm at least a bit more interested in ophthalmology, because I think that that's one of the, like, if I check in my social circle, it's honestly one of the less like, no one cares about ophthalmology. It feels like, as a student. And also maybe at the doctors, like, you have your own place there and just keep to yourself.
World.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the same way. Honestly, it's kind of the same a bit with psychiatry.
It is from what I've heard.
But I got inspired to tell you more about, like, why, because I said the negative thing about why I didn't, like, I didn't. So first semester, no, the sixth semester, so which was the first clinical one, I did internal medicine, and I noticed, like, I just know it in my heart that nope, that's not me. And this semester I had surgery, like the general surgery and the anesthesia and all that. And of course, like, that's the coolest semester in a lot of ways. Like, you get into places where you never have been before, like, you know, just getting into the operation room and just putting on the scrubs and everything for the first time. It's very fascinating for anyone, like, even if you
are the Instagram pictures, of course. Everyone has to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's really cool. But I took, so for the first half of the semester, I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm going to be a surgeon. Honestly, I think maybe, like, if like, I got interested in hand surgery because it's very, it felt like something I would be.
I saw your interview with the hand surgeon. It was very interesting. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
I wanted to do hand surgery after that.
Yeah. It's kind of, yeah, whatever. It was really nice, at least. But then I took a more, like, pragmatic or maybe rational view of it all, like, in the last month, and I was like, okay, so during this semester I've been sweating like a pig, and because we had all of these clothes all the time, I had, like, back pain, and I mean I'm still young and everything, it's fine, but it was just this thing about the lifestyle. Like lifestyle is so important to me. You know, I want to travel. I want to read my books. I want to spend time with my family and friends. And and also I want to control my own time. And all of that made me think, like, no, surgery is not for me. And the second part of it is because it's so important for me that I meet people and humans on a deeper level. And it's not always like I have to talk about feelings and everything, but I just wanted to meet them. I want to have long does it make sense if I say long relationships with them? I mean, like,
long-term relation. No, on the contrary, we are social creatures. Human beings we are the best at talking, like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We never met each other in person. We love doing it, and we click. And some people are more, introverts and extroverts. And when you feel that you're one of these people that, you're the Michael Jordan of speaking, sort of, it's just your game, you know. So
and that's really how I feel, like, because honestly, I'm really not practical with my hands. I mean, of course you could become better at it, but that's just something, like, if I would spend, like, my whole life becoming better at doing things with my hands, I would still not be great. Some people just have. But one thing I really do believe that I have is, like, I have like, I'm good at analyzing people. I love talking to people. I really love hearing people's stories. As you said, like, we had never met each other, but I want to know everything about you.
Thank you. The same.
Yeah. But that's just the nature of how I am, and all of that made me think, like, okay, I have to have a real connection with real people, and for me, of course, I haven't done all my rotations and stuff, but for me, it was clear that it's either psychiatry, because I'm really fascinated with how, like, the specific medical part of why I'm interested in psychiatry. It's that it's from a very cellular level and like physical kind of level, physiological kind of level. It can make these very abstract symptoms, like how, for example, a schizophrenic patient, like, and with everything that they are, it's all explained by some crazy stuff up here. And it's not, at least for me, it's not like, I don't have any spiritual like explanation for it. Some people do, but for me, it's very clear that, okay, so basically we have this dopamine, and we have this dopamine receptor, and we have this serotonin, and we have all of this, and all of that in their million connections make this weird phenomenon. It doesn't have to be like schizophrenia, but just feelings. Like, what is actually the feeling of anxiety?
Exactly. What is love? Put like, it's sort of, you know, you give someone all the ingredients of a cake, and then they're like, okay, you eat each one of these ingredients at a time. It tastes like shit. But then when you mix them all together, you eat that cake. That cake now has an emotion, has a smell, has a memory. When you smell that cake 10 years from now, you remember, shit, I ate this at this amazing cafe, and now I'm remembering the time I was there. It's fascinating. It's fascinating, truly.
And nothing else has, for me, until today, nothing else has fascinated me like that, because I don't know if it's that I'm kind of cynical, but in a way, I turn away from everything in medicine that is very like practical or concrete. For example, and I don't know if that's the right way to think about it, honestly, because, for example, I was in a lot of I don't know if you call it the same in Skåne, RALP, like robot-assisted laparoscopic prostatectomy.
Maybe I've never been involved with this here.
No, okay, so I was in a lot of these.
Probably,
yeah. So basically, we are there, and they are sitting in this robot taking out the prostate from some guy, and then they it's cool, But then sometimes I just get an out-of-body experience that I'm like a camera up in the operating room, and I'm just looking at this like, okay, what are we actually doing? Like, we're inside some person's body, and we're taking out this körtel, what's it called in English? Gland, and we're just squishing it, and we are seeing some cancerous growth or something, and it just feels like, what is this? Like, it just feels weird for me. For me, it's like I want to be at the center of all the djupa samtal, and where we're talking about feelings, not inside some guy's body.
The deep connections and the deep, the deep moments of thought and communication between people.
And it just feels so far away when you're doing this kind of operating. But the truth is that we're actually probably changing a person's life.
For sure.
That's what you have to have in mind also.
I think this is what's really, like, with all love and general respect to every specialty, every kind of career that's out there in the world. I mean, we can't function as a society if our trash isn't taken or a mail isn't delivered. Every single entity of society, every single job has its function, has its importance that I cannot do. And the opposite when it comes to my work. Everything can be learned, that's true. But at the same time, what is truly beautiful about medicine is that you're not only helping other people, you're learning about yourself. And it's always this retrospective, reflective kind of feeling that you're getting, and you're learning about who you are as a human being, really what makes you up. And it's true that doctors never listen to their own advice. Doctors smoke, they drink, they eat very unhealthy food, and they promote exactly
they don't sleep as they should.
They don't sleep as they should. But here's the thing. I think with medicine, the nice thing that it offers you around the world, even stability in your profession. Like, you're not afraid to be unemployed in a sense. You have a bit of like steps to get through, but in the end, you always have that economic, financial stability, which I tell you, from our generation, from my parents' generation, it's always like, first, it's the social aspect that, my son is a doctor. Ooh la la. The second thing is the economic factor, that you're going to be economic stable. Though doctors don't make as much as they did before, especially in Sweden as well.
But you're gonna have you're not gonna have issues with like economy.
You're not gonna worry how to put food on the at your table at the end of the month. You're gonna have time to travel. This is something I don't want to sell ophthalmology a lot, but what I want to say is that what's really cool about it is that, for example, the night shifts, you have one a month, and our night shift is half in the clinic and the other half you're at home. You get phone calls at night. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And seldomly do you have to leave home to actually go. You have a lot of time for you to travel, to read, as well to study. And when work stops, it stops. They're not going to call you, tell you this patient that you just operated on, you did a laparoscopy on, is now his poop's going back up. So it's sort of freeing from that aspect. And at the same time, there are a lot of people that would say to you, and I have one of my friends, which is like, he also works here. Shout out to Omar. He works in Oskarshamn. I'm sending him all the love. Yeah, he loves acute medicine. He loves emergency medicine, right? So some people love that. And you think, shit, working as an ER doctor, the most stressful thing in the world. For him, nothing gives him more of a rush, more of dopamine than doing that. So this is part of psychiatry as well. Life is very relevant.
And that's, I would say that is one thing that I want to give out to all, especially medical students in their early parts of their career and studies. Like, I can't stress it enough that you can't compare yourself to all the other people that are studying medicine, because the only thing you have in common is that you either had good grades or you like made it so you had good grade, like with Chromebooks or house. That's the only thing you have in common. Because I have struggled a lot with this, like, oh, this person is studying this much, this person loves this person, like the surgeon seems to like this person. It's like, who cares? Just focus on yourself. Like this semester I got back from like sabbatical or like study break. I took a 1 year study break. And it made me like shift perspective on a lot of things. So I started studying in a way more effective way. So I honestly put less time this semester.
How do you study? That's very interesting. I want to know.
I'm going to tell you. Let me just tell you that I put less time. I stopped caring what people thought, and like just started prioritizing my own health and my own mental, like everything. And then
that is excellent.
At the same time, you hear like people are getting stressed up and they're like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to do this. And at the end of the day, I just got my exam results, and it's one of the best results I've ever had. And I've never felt this good, you know?
Cheers.
Yeah, really, cheers. I don't have anything. But, so how do I study? So I am very inspired by this medical YouTuber. Maybe you've heard of him, Ali Abdaal.
Yeah, in the UK.
In the UK. So basically...
Tech videos
so
as well.
He basically inspired me to start my channel. He was one of the like reasons for it. And I was thinking like, okay, so if I could make even more niche content than him for Swedish people, I think that would be great. And
you two kind of look alike.
Yeah, exactly. That people tell me. I hope that I have nicer hair than him though, because he has like his hair is kind of. He needs to
learn your anti-stress techniques.
Exactly. No, but so he basically taught me how to study through his videos. So I realized that taking notes and highlighting, they could be good ways of learning, but it takes a lot of time and it's very inefficient. Like the time you put into it, it gives you maybe 10% retention of what you actually read or highlighted. And that's what I've been doing for like 4 or 5 years now, because that's what I've been doing basically. And I realized, and he said one thing that was just revolutionizing. Honestly, it gave me like anxiety. He was like, you cannot take any notes for the entire semester. Like, do not take notes. What he instead says that you do, but it's not really true, because he says it's rather than taking notes, write questions that can become like, so if I'm having the
answer would be what you'd write in a note.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. So it's basically the same thing. So I use this software called Anki, if you have heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard and they do the cards, the Anki cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it
So
the same
basically,
one? Yeah.
So what I have done this semester, it's very like I felt like a machine almost, but it worked for me. So I had the Zoom window to the left, and I had the Anki to the right. And as we were doing the lecture, if he said like schizophrenia is an affective disease, and then I wrote in the Anki question just what kind of disease is schizophrenia, or actually you can also do like that. There's an empty space, so schizophrenia is an empty disease.
Oh,
and
that's smart.
So basically, when the föreläsning, what's it called? Lecture. When the lecture was done, then I had all my questions and the notes, because it's actually questions, but it's also notes, because in this software everything is saved. So what I then did is that the software it makes a schedule for you. So basically every other day or something, I did a review of all the questions throughout the whole semester. So every other day I did maybe 30 questions, and then I didn't study anymore. So it was like, yeah, okay. So I was sitting in the bathroom doing some questions. I was sitting on the bus or something doing some questions on the train. And all of a sudden, like when it was time for the exam period, we have like 2 weeks exam period. I was like, I feel like I already know everything. So everything I did during the exam period, it was just bonus for me. And I wouldn't say that
I noticed that you were eating McDonald's the night before the exam, because it's usually the opposite. And that's when in the video that you went, when you went to do your last exam, I checked this video out.
Yeah.
I noticed that, okay, so this guy is eating McDonald's before the exam. It must mean that he's relaxed, because we usually hit McDonald's after the exam. So that's what I knew, that you either really know your shit or you just don't care.
No, but the thing is also, I don't really aspire to be the best medical student. So I don't aspire to get like straight grades. Let me see. There's someone calling on the door. Let me just double check.
Go for it.
Are you there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. It was this. We have the food box, where they get food to your door and you cook it.
Oh, yeah.
So they just ring the bell, and then all of a sudden there was a box outside. Sorry. Basically, this kind of method, I only focus on the relevant parts. It's like the important parts. They're always talking about statistics and epidemiology and stuff that is usually, it's not interesting. It's not that important as a student also usually. And it's not a question on the exam. So I started focusing on the important stuff.
And how did you notice that your performance changed since you started doing that? Compared to the years when you were taking the conventional type of notes and the conventional study?
I would say the results were basically the same. Like, okay, I got a bit better mark this time, which was my best mark.
Not by marks, yeah, but how did you feel?
Yeah. So the crazy thing is that I'm a very anxious person. I have always been, but I'm getting better at it. And I have not felt anxiety towards school for since I started, since after the gap year, when I started doing these new. So because honestly, I was studying more. If I think about it, I was on the lectures always doing these Anki cards. And I was always when I was on the bus or whatever, I was always just doing these things. But it didn't feel like studying in the horrible way that it is when you're.
Tell you something now. Yeah.
Tell me.
Continue.
No, just highlighting and reading stuff. It just feels horrible. It's like, I'm gonna study now for 8 hours, and you're sitting with this huge textbook and just it's just horrible. While doing these Anki quiz things, it's actually fun. Talking about dopamine, I get dopamine kick every day when I.
There you go, my friend. This is what I want to tell you. When I started med school, my first 2 years, I felt horrible. I was getting the grades I want, but at the same time, I was feeling, oh my god, I'm putting 210%, and I'm not feeling good. I contemplated a lot of times, life isn't worth this crap.
Exactly.
And then my uncle told me something. My uncle, he's a neurologist.
Okay.
And he told me something. He's like, honestly, this is gonna sound a bit out of topic, but you're gonna see. He's like, do you know why human beings enjoy sex, making love, or animals do the same? He said, if you think about it, it's a very vulgar phenomena that's happening. It is actually painful if there wasn't dopamine that's going to be involved. Dopamine triggers us to do things, or the things that we're doing, to be memorable, and and for human beings to consider that this is something that I want to do over and over again. And it's addictive in that way. He said, try this thing. Whatever it is that you're doing, don't make love to it, but whatever it is that you're doing, try to do it in a fun way, your own way. He said, I can't tell you how, but find, because it's very personal to you, try finding what you would like it to be. Like, do it in whatever way that you want it to be. And I came back that summer, and I was thinking really hard about how can I make my studies more effective. In Lithuania, we had a huge library where everyone used to study there. It was a new library, but it was like everyone is sitting there quiet. You can't open your mouth. Sometimes we could take a study room rented. We could speak a bit and study in groups, but I honestly freaking hated that place. It made me feel so much more anxious, made me feel stressed to study even more.
Yeah.
It opened and closed at a certain time. I didn't feel good about myself. And at home, I could never study. So I said, you know what? It was just after summer when I came back from Lebanon to Lithuania, and the weather was still nice. I went down to a cafe. I took my stuff. I sat in a cafe. They had music. They had everything. I don't even remember if I had my headphones on or whatever.
Yeah.
I just put my stuff, got a cup of coffee, got the coffee that I like. I sat down and I started on my own pace. And I felt by the end of the day, 8 hours had gone by and didn't even feel it. Nothing.
Yeah.
I just felt I was hungry. And then I started doing this every single day. I was getting criticized by all my friends, like,
oh yeah,
bro, you're going to fail so bad. Like, what are you doing? You're studying in a cafe. I got one of the highest grades that year. I got even, what was it? Like, someone assumed that I was cheating in order to get these because I was always, whatever they asked me, I'm out. And when I came home, I didn't touch a book. I did it in my own pace. And I did a bit every month. And then I did a bit every day. And then I realized that what you're saying, like being creative in what you do, there's something called short bursts of love.
Yeah.
Short bursts of love. This is kind of technique that I use. It's sort of, I got this inspiration really for me how to study here when I started my residency, because when you start residency, you're going to see there's no one that's going to tell you, hey, did you study this book? Or there's no exams, there's nothing. So you can either plateau very quickly at the same level of where you started, or just gain a bit of experience here and there based on what you see. But you're not really going to become the Michael Jordan or the LeBron of your own subspecialty if you do that. And to force yourself to study after a long day of work, it's hard. So I got inspired by my long distance relationship of when me and my fiance, we see each other during these short periods of time. They're so memorable that when we leave afterwards, I always remember, all these moments, and they're still in my head because you know that there's going to be a gap afterwards. So I said, instead of me sitting on a weekend and just plummeting 8-9 hours into my studies in order to, and the specialty books, the specialization books, they're bigger than the textbooks in med school. Yeah. So I said, hey, okay, how can I make this more fun? What if I study a bit every single day, not more than an hour? And then I said, you know what? It's really not about the time. Let me do it easier. How about if I study just 5 pages? No matter if these 5 pages are just pictures, just small micro achievements every day. And then I felt like, let me tell you, because I love what you're saying, because you see how human beings do it a bit differently, but still the same concept of making it fun. I said, what do I love? I love tech stuff a lot. I said, I don't want to study on a computer because it reminds me of med school. You know what? I'm going to download it as a PDF on my iPad. I like using my iPad. And the iPad to my brain is fun. So I got an Apple Pencil. Actually, that was a gift as well. So I used that. I used the iBooks app to underline and highlight every single day, 5 pages a day. And I realized and I saw that small amount of pages that I read every single day was retained so much more effectively than sitting and plummeting in 20 pages or 30 pages worth of information. And the last thing I want to say about that is that, we have two sides of our brain. We have 2 hemispheres that are always fighting with each other. We have the logical hemisphere, the more arithmetic, dad, father-like figure hemisphere. And then you have the naughty hemisphere. The hemisphere always wants to have fun, this creative, that's artistic. And it's that artistic hemisphere that when you're sitting in a library, concentrating, and it's so quiet, that starts poking you. Like, come on, let's do something else. Let's do something else. And you're reading, for example, you read, for example, I don't know, any random word, liver, and you get inspired to think of something else. And you start seeing that, wow, I'm drifting into another world, thinking about something else. Then an hour goes by, then you open your phone, then you do this. You don't feel like you want to sit and study. So the best way to do it is to really reconcile the naughty side of your brain, the fun side of your brain, with the logical side. How? To shut up that happy side, that artistic side.
Gamification.
Your own way. Or medication, or do the Anki cards. Make it fun. Make it fun.
Yeah.
So good job what you're doing. And I think this is the best way, even with your specialty. Choose something that when you talk about, there's a spark in your eyes. Like your partner will tell you, your friends will tell you, dude, you have to do this specialty. Like, you speak about it with all your heart.
Yeah.
So this is why.
That was amazing. This was really inspiring. Even though I, like, as I said, I found my way. Like, it was really nice to hear how you did it also. And I think that a lot of people can benefit from it. But I really like the thing they said about tech, because like there's also a thing where like a lot of people, like I'm reading books and the YouTubers and stuff, that they say, like, honestly, I don't know how to formulate it, but it's like if you can't do something with your, for example, they say like, okay, if you want to start a YouTube channel, just do it with your phone. You don't have to buy the nicest camera and stuff. But for some people, I think that it actually can be a very nice thing. Not necessarily the camera, but for example, so I mean, I didn't love working out before. Like, I thought that, for example, I had to go to the gym because everyone was going to the gym, and I hated it. It was like sweaty, and it was like, it was just not that nice. And then my girlfriend, she's very active, and she's out in the woods, and very
hiking,
Swedish. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she got me a gift, actually, when I finished 4th semester, which was this one, which I see that you also have. And
that was also a gift, also from my.
That's nice. So I got the Apple Watch, and then I realized, okay, so I have to close the circles, and there's a different workout methods and stuff. All right, so let's try this, and then now I can maybe become better at running 5K, because now I have all the statistics there. And it made it so much fun that now, it's been like a few years, and I love it. I have statistics from way back in 2018, and it made me start exploring more, because as you probably know, there are different workouts. So I was like, oh, maybe we should try badminton, and maybe we should try this thing. And
like stuff that you never thought about, like when you see people doing it on YouTube, so like I would never do this kind of stuff, but
exactly.
You enjoy, exactly.
And also the thing with also another gift, like she's very nice, and she gives me gifts because she has a job and I'm a student. But that's really nice. But so she got me a Kindle, Amazon Kindle for my birthday. And I love reading, but it's just been too, like, I'm very I get triggered by inspiration. Like, it's like, oh, I want to read this book. Like, I got inspired maybe by this talk, and now I want to go read a book. But then I have to order it, and it takes 3 days, and life happens, and it's like just those 3 days can change my mind completely.
100%.
So for me, it was so nice to just, okay, I want to read this book. I just download it right here on the Kindle, and I have it. And I have all my books on this little device, and it's just awesome. And it made me, like, now since I got it like 8 months ago, I've read maybe 20 books or something, which I hadn't read in my whole. It's amazing. Crazy how
that's perfect. That's perfect. Really, when we incorporate, even as if you look at people like Elon Musk, or even Steve Jobs, if you hear one of his talks at the beginning, and he says that I do it, like, Elon Musk, he dropped out of Stanford after just like 1 or 2 years, and though he was getting a grades, he was assistant professor, he was getting into physics, but he dropped out because he wanted to follow, sort of not just his passion. Some people say that, follow your dreams, they quit their jobs, then 2 hours later they're like, what the fuck did I just do? I need to pay my bills. They don't have a plan. But when when you know that you like the subject, and it's just the way of incorporating what is fun in a way about it. Seriously, that trick, since my uncle told me that trick of instead of trying to fight off or silence the happy side of your brain, the creative side of your brain, you know, and trying to just be logical and focus, especially in our field, to be schematic and business wise. It's the worst thing you can do. Instead, you have to befriend it, incorporate it into your life, because it can grant you the best. Look, the most amazing companies, the most amazing inventions, stuff that you and I are talking through today, the MacBook, whatever it is, they happen because of people that were creative, not people that were mathematical geniuses. They're people that had a vision, that incorporated it into that. So, actually, bravo, good to you.
I want to just, about this that you said, it's crazy. So I have a quote which I have two quotes next to my like on my bedside table, because I honestly I hate quotes like, you know, carpe diem and these things, but there are some quotes that are really life-changing, that like actually mean something, because there are a lot of quotes, you know, that don't mean anything, at least according to me.
But they're good on Facebook only. Like.
Yeah, exactly. And what you basically said, it's like I've always felt, not always, but a lot of times I've felt like that jag inte passar in, or that I'm not thinking like other people.
You don't fit in to what the crowd really thinks.
Yeah, and also like within medicine, it's like, why do people love surgery and I don't? Or why do people study 8 hours and I don't? And why do people do this and I don't?
You feel a bit of an outcast of what.
Exactly, but now I'm starting to grow, and like with this YouTube thing and meeting other people, I am starting to realize that it's not a negative thing. It's probably a very positive thing. And about what you just said, I don't remember actually, but it triggered me to just open this quote, and basically this is what you said: the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. 100%. And that's what you said about how creative people are creating stuff.
Exactly. You know, it's yeah. Sorry, don't want to cut.
No, that's what I wanted to say. Just that when I think about why I'm like sometimes feeling that I'm kind of weird, it's just like, yeah, but you're gonna do some great things in the future. Don't worry.
Exactly. You know, back in high school, I remember that I always had a hard time fitting in, especially when it came to sports.
Yeah.
All my friends, even today, like my social circle, everyone likes soccer. I don't know why. I don't like it. I found myself that I have an affinity for weird sports like sumo and arm wrestling, like weird stuff that I never thought about, like just following these guys, like people that throw darts or something like that. But I felt like I had the need, especially in my last years of high school, to actually go and Google some soccer teams and get some statistics. I was really good at memorizing stuff, and I used to just participate in what they were saying, but I had no freaking idea or gave a crap of what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And then I realized this is wrong. It's good to be part and know a bit about something, that if you're in a conversation, but at the same time, you feel it inside you that what you're doing is good and is right for you and it's working. And if you think about it, with your Anki card system, you sort of out-cheated the system. Yeah. You're like the guys that use the GameStop to screw over the Wall Street guys. So do it your way, and you feel always when you're going in the right path. And it's okay if we screw up. Hey, it's okay. It's always better to feel, and this is kind of a quote, but in the same way, I've experienced this in my life. It's always better when you make your mistake of a decision that you made, rather than following something that you knew your gut was telling you isn't you, and it happened exactly in the negative aspect that you said, I never want to do this again. I never want to follow that path. But when you start your own YouTube channel, right? Yeah. I started it and I still use my phone to record. I just use my phone. I got a tripod and I bought off Amazon some shitty ass small light, and I started doing the videos. I had no idea how I was editing what it was, but things move on. Things just, doors open up, and you'll be happy for every small thing. Every small thing. Yeah. Keep at it.
I think that we have to kind of round up, or is that what you say?
Yeah, of
or
course.
close it down, or round it up.
We can round it up. I think we can go for hours and hours otherwise.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop the recording, and I'm gonna tell all the viewers that I really hoped you enjoyed this video, and I'm also gonna say that I mean, this was a really inspiring conversation, and I think that a lot of people out there are gonna gain a lot from this. So I'm really happy that we did this.
I'm really happy that we did this too. To everyone that sees this video, go on this guy's channel, please. The link in the picture and everything. Sky, you're gonna fix it. See his inspiring path. I mean, it's kind of cool because they're gonna see you're starting during your med school years, and then they see afterwards in the residency years.
Yeah.
And listen, we have to meet in person.
Yes,
and then
definitely.
When I went to Stockholm, you're down here.
Yeah.
And then we'll make more content, even though.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay?
And the same to you. So you should go visit his channel, which is Now I Know, and it's probably on the screen now. I hope I remember it. Now I Know.
Thank
you. Check it out. Okay. See you.
Love you all. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.